Let's get started. Let's kick off with some client updates. Zeem team.
Hello and everyone. Yeah, so our updates are that we are definite to implementation complete and we are ready to interop with other clients. And for that, Katya and Partha will basically try interop with other clients, whose are already. And I think in today's call, uh, people can indicate who are ready, and we can take it from there. Apart from that, on the okay. Apart from that, I think on the tooling front, Partha has been working uh, on basically a clone of Checkpoint Z for Lean, and we will be able to sort of integrate it and test it out in DevNet 2, and we have started reviewing DevNet 3 PRs as well, and hopefully we will make good progress in tomorrow's breakout call. And we have also added a few more metrics for DevNet 2. Uh, and I think we will basically now, based on debuggings, we will keep updating the client and keep making the fixes in the spec if needed and in the client as well. Thank you.
Could you quickly just kind of set the context for everyone about what the breakout calls topic is?
Yeah, so breakout call topic tomorrow, I think we are having it at 2 p.m. UTC, which is exactly this time, is basically .NET 3 spec PR discussions. Uh, because I think there are a lot of comments that we have, and it will be better to just discuss that in person so that there isn't much to and fro that is needed. And I think Kamil can also explain the spec, which would be good for all of us.
Thanks so much. Ream team.
Sweet. Hi guys. So, the past week, our biggest focus has been to match the DevNet 2 spec. So on a higher level, we have matched the DevNet 2 spec with all the new functions and all the new data structures that have been added. Very minor things such as how the spec stores aggregated signatures versus how we store the aggregated signature struct. I believe are currently different, but we are fixing that today, and we're implementing the spec tests in our CI as well as I don't know if the spec tests are up to the spec in lean spec. But we're gonna add that in our CI, and once the spec tests are up to spec, we'll be testing against the spec. One other thing we added was we added syncing. So a client joining in later into the DevNet can sync with other clients. So we have added a CI test for that as well, and that has been working quite well. Uh, I have some minor concerns regarding one of the functions in the spec, like the block building in the spec. But I believe we can raise that after the client updates are done.
Awesome. Thanks, Sherry. Uh, Clean.
Yeah, hey everyone. From our side, yeah, we're working on stabilizing the node, so we yeah fixed the out of memory issue, so it should be good on kind of long-term runs for clean, and yeah, also it stabilized the networking part. So previously, yeah, clean could accidentally think that it kind of owns the connection with the peer that already disconnected. So we fixed that. Yeah, and basically currently, yeah, working towards DevNet 2. So we kind of had the aggregation ready for some time already, but now, yeah, kind of merging all the changes and yeah, hope to get the stable image with DevNet 2 ready soon. So yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Camille. Lantern.
Yep. Hi, everyone. So basically have implemented support for checkpoint sync. And I also noticed in the lean spec, there were some changes introduced, spec defined for how syncing should be done. So I've been aligning the logic that was implemented in Lantern with the logic that has been implemented or defined in lean spec. And I've also been trying to debug issues with syncing. For example, if there is a local devnet that I run for devnet 2 and it's been running for like multiple hours and then I try to sync, sometimes the sync ends up stalling. Sync works fine for if the devnet's only running for like a couple of minutes. So I'm currently trying to debug the issues, but and also recently there was a I think PR 305 that was merged in lean spec by the Zeem team, I believe. And I'm currently implementing that for justification pruning in the state object. And yep, I think that's the update from our side. We will release the Docker image once the tooling has been updated for Lean Quick Start. We'll open a PR for it as well for DevNet 2. Thanks.
Thanks, Mahir. So here is Manas on the call, or anyone from Lighthouse. Okay, cool. ETH Lambda.
Okay. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah. We yesterday reached DevNet 1 feature parity. We are now testing with running some local devnets mainly with SIM, trying to add other clients to test interoperability. Just to expand on this, ETH Lambda now follows the chain, receives both blocks and attestations, and computes the current heads, justified and final states with attestation publishing and block proposals. We are now, we also opened the PR on Lean Quick Start, adding support for ETH Lambda. We are now working on DevNet 2 support with historical sync and DB persistent as the next priorities.
Thank you. Anyone from the game team on the call? If you'd like to provide an introduction and just a quick update on where you're at with things.
Yes. Can you hear me? Hi.
Yes. Hi.
Yeah. Good to be here. So we have started developing on June last week. What we have done so far, we have implemented the type system and serialization on the Lean spec. We have also implemented the clock and Genesis. So up next, what we're going to be doing is state transition. Yeah.
Great.
That's where we are.
Awesome. Thanks so much and welcome to the call. Yeah, so I dropped some notes in the chat just regarding overall coordination of this effort. I'd like to set aside a healthy portion of the call to discuss some of these overlying ideas and concerns and just the way that we all work together. So it's a great opportunity for some of the newer teams to be able to like have a say and also get up to speed, and we can work together to craft processes that are reflective of this growing group effort. So before we do that, let's touch base, make sure that are there any spec or research updates that people would like to highlight?
I can give a brief update about like the status of the spec. So this week I have worked quite a lot about the minimal client stuff. Now I am full time on the spec, and so what I have done is that I have added a bunch of modules to fill the gaps. For example, like completing the peer-to-peer stuff, adding like a mini database thing, like using something inside Python so that I don't have to add any external dependency and I have the simplest possible thing just to test. I also added some sync stuff, some storage stuff, some basic validators, some CLI, and a bunch of modules. I have not plugged them fully together for now, let us say, and interop with other clients, but I have added this module so that we have all the pieces, let us say, to build like a minimal client. Now I was waiting for a couple of things. First, like to have a proper signature aggregation with the Python bindings to be able to interoperate with Zim and Rim, for example, and all the other clients then. Also, I added some tests, some documentation. I am trying to make the spec really bulletproof so that we have like full test coverage with a lot of tests added to test various edge cases that I discovered through the process. Also, this weekend I began like an effort to add like a PDF inside the spec in order to be like a kind of a companion to the spec. This is for now not complete at all. I have just started the intro, the part about like the timing system, and yesterday I added the SSZ part. I can send a link to the chat right there. I didn't send like a proper message into the Telegram group, not to pollute the discussion, but I hope that this will become like an effort to make like a plain text English version of the spec with a lot of explanation, a lot of drawings and stuff like that, so that everyone can understand the finest details of Lean consensus. That is mostly the part about like spec updates. So yeah, basically now my focus will be on trying to improve test coverage, make the minimal client working, and improve the book as well. Yeah, this is basically it in terms of spec.
Maybe I can continue about LeanVM. I recently finished to transition the ZK DSL into a Python-like syntax. I can send it to you, a file which is like a Python file which is used by the ZK DSL compiler to compile to a low-level bytecode that is used either for recursion or for XMSS aggregation. It's not currently executable by Python. We will need some additional details, but it's close of being executable in the sense that I just need to create some Python classes, import Poseidon, etc. And we should be able to have the full recursion program and XMSS aggregation program written in Python. And so easily we will be able to easily add it to the spec. And so the goal here is to have a Python program which is at the same time the spec, like it defines how to verify a snark, and also is at the same time used to compile to the low-level ISA recursion program. That's it.
Thanks, Emil. Thanks, Tomas. So were there any other timely updates that people would like to discuss before we kind of jump to this more kind of broad coordination topic?
Yes, quick flagging that there are two changes after we merged the Dev2 spec commits yesterday. So there's one spotted by Caden. I think lean multisig and lean sig is not compatible. But I think Emil already fixed that. So that's a new change. So the multisig commit should be updated. And then there's a justification refactor that I think just got merged in as well. Yeah.
I think so. Katja.
Hello, everyone. Quick updates from my side. I will share the links in the chat. So for DevNet 2, that would be great to have labels for Docker images for the clients. And we also have labels for peer connection metrics. So if you're able to implement them on your client, please, it will be super helpful for investigating the connection issues. I also opened an issue about default images. Just take a look into it. It is connected with the next Lean Quick Start update. We're going to add config files to launch the DevNets easy locally. So the DevNet 1 retrospective is finalized, so feel free to use it whatever you want to. And we also added it to the Lean Quick Start repo, so not to lose everything. So currently for the new clients, please add logs. Even if you don't have metrics, at least logs are nice to have, because when the clients fail, it's not clear like why, especially for new clients. So we need to investigate this. And for DevNet 2, the dashboards will be shared. So I'm working on this currently. Yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you.
Thanks, Katja. Mercy.
Sorry, I just wanted to point out something. The one of the PR O did mention about, I looked into it, and there's sort of the proof state went from 3 generic parameters to 2, and then the constructor also went from 2 arguments to 1. So there is kind of like a mismatch. So it needs to be updated. So I wanted to check if that is why the CI was failing, and if I can run the PR and push if that is necessary. I dropped the link to the comments and to the issue I created in regards to this.
In Lean multisig, this is issue 136, API mismatch.
I thought that it had been fixed.
This has been resolved, yeah.
And actually, the reason is because, to be precise, Multisig uses a different version of Plonky 3 than LeanSig, but it should not be a problem. And so, as far as I understand, it has been fixed.
Okay, I just need to check back the error I'm getting, because I tried to update it and then rebuild. I was getting an error. That was why I flagged it. I have to pin to the latest commit. Then I had to check Caden's PR, which I noticed the CI was failing. So I was thinking that's the same reason why the CI was failing.
So you're concerned that maybe it is not fixed.
I think you might have been looking at the wrong failure logs. I'm not sure. I think this has been resolved from my recollection.
Okay, I'll check back again. Thank you.
Thanks, Mercy. Sharik?
Yeah, so I'm gonna raise something that I think is problematic in the spec. However, I'm not the spec expert, so someone can correct me if I'm totally off. Let me share my screen here. I think I could share just this. Uh, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
So when I implement the spec 1:1, I'm running into an issue where the state root, the computed state root does not match the state root in the block. And I have a feeling that it's coming from here. The compute aggregated signature has this two-phase thing where it may create multiple aggregation bits. So it would do 11000011, uh, and the aggregated attestation from this function may be different from the attestations we have put into the candidate block right here. Uh, However, the post state root is not uploaded, is not does not process the final block. So we run into some assertion issues at time of state transition. I wonder if I'm completely off, or is this a valid concern? Because when implementing it in our Rust client, we weren't able to reach finalization due to this error.
Yeah, I think this could be a valid concern. So maybe can you raise a PR to fix this in the spec? I mean, so generally the way we implement it in the clients and in the spec, so there can be divergences, and so this particular thing can happen where we have not really addressed the changes that got created while doing aggregated signatures, because yes, there are some duplicates that can happen in aggregated signatures the way we are aggregating them with the same attestation data. So what you are saying could definitely be correct, and so if you can open the PR, I think we can review and circle back on it.
Okay.
And if this is not possible, or like if you have a doubt, what could be really helpful is to have a situation where it breaks. I guess that you can find it with your Rust code.
Yeah.
Just for me to analyze the situation, because I'm not sure I fully understood what you mentioned there. And I think that this is normal because the flow is complex there.
Okay, so I'll just get all the logs, and I'll just make an issue to lean spec
Yeah,
regarding it.
that would be the best. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, so
Did you
the
see-
best way to proceed on this, Sharik, always is to add a test vector, because when you add a test vector and it fails, it clearly shows that there is something wrong with the spec, and then the aim is to correct the spec, so that correct the code so that the test vector passes. Basically, it's test driven development, and I think this is something we can add over here to make sure that this particular case is addressed.
Sweet. I'll go ahead with seeing if I can get a test vector, and then I'll open an issue. So that should be all good.
Also, Sharik, I think you might be facing a assertion error where you are trying to basically validate that there aren't two aggregated payloads that have same attestation bits. And I removed that check from specs because there might be certain cases in which we basically aggregate using gossip signatures, and we already have an aggregated payload, and it might have like a same attestation bits. So I have implemented it in such a way in Zeem that it is not possible, but it is like independent of specs at this point in time. So I think there used to be a check where we were basically validating that we don't have two aggregated attestations with the same attestation bits. That check has been removed. I think you might have missed removing that check from your implementation. So that might be the case.
Sweet. I'm gonna check. I'm gonna check for that. Uh, I'm gonna check for that, and I can share my findings. If that's not the case.
Okay.
Sweet.
Yeah, so the best thing is just to add the test vector and it basically, everything becomes evident.
Amazing. Sounds good.
Great. So I'm gonna, I guess, try to set the table for just this broader coordination discussion. I think it's, uh, what this is call number 23. We've really been sort of diligently, like, sort of trying to bootstrap this effort for several months now, and I think we've had a lot of success. We're all, just kind of organically understanding what gaps need to be filled, how to work together. We're shipping new and novel technology, and uh, these are kind of nascent client teams that are working together in nascent repos and orgs. And we're also welcoming a lot of new client teams to the effort. So um, I don't know what if I do the math. We're about 6 months in, so I think it's a good opportunity to just kind of like take stock of things. And really, what prompted this is the fact that we've got kind of concurrent DevNet efforts happening and being discussed within these calls and within the Telegram channels. And so I think yesterday, and I'll kind of let Thomas set the stage, but I know, as we all know, he's been working on this this Python implementation and was looking for a stable DevNet 2 client to build on, and was looking at the Zeem branches, the Ream branches, and just finding that there's like some incompatibility, I guess, with a delta between what he was expecting to find on the DevNet 2 branch versus the spec and across those different clients. And so it started to, I think, between that and then last week we had 3 DevNets being discussed on the call. So we had the long running DevNet 1, we had DevNet 2 in development, and we had DevNet 3 already being discussed in terms of spec. I think it was really like, okay, are we dangerously like taking our eye off the ball by trying to parallel process multiple dev nets at once? And so floated out some of these conversations with a smaller group last night, and it seems like there's like a really strong alignment around the idea that, hey, having 2 parallel dev nets in development is a good thing, and it's what we should really be cognizant. We should all agree upon that. There's the DevNet that's in implementation phase, and then there's, call that DevNet in, and then DevNet in plus 1 is in the specification phase. And so these 2 things can certainly happen at the same time. I think that we just want to make sure that we're working to time box that and have some cleaner processes so that things are clearly discussed and tracked across those DevNet era efforts. And I think that the sort of, if that's the core, the center of where coordination begins is in the GitHub PRs and the PM repo. It kind of emanates out from there and expresses itself in the way that we set up Telegram channels or set up this call, for instance. And so I just wanted to make sure that we're thinking about our coordination stack top to bottom, and that it's like it reflects the way that we are working. So I put this like kind of 6-part agenda together to be able to talk about all of these things. I don't know, in the diagnosis phase, I guess, like acknowledging some of the coordination challenges. Tomas, if you could speak to this, because I think it's important for everyone to have, like, when I was an architect, a big part of like being able to, hey, like, I'm an architect, but I'm being asked to design a library or a bank or something. I'm not a banker, I'm not a librarian. So you have to, in design, you have to like quickly develop empathy, right? And so like understanding like the perspective of how another type of contributor or person that engages in a system that you're designing would interact with it, is going to help you design that system better. So I think having empathy, from one client to the other client, but also having empathy from a client perspective to like a spec writing perspective to metrics to research is important. So anyway, Thomas, maybe you could speak, about some of the things that you're encountering, and if anyone else wants to like jump in to like add into like some areas that they view as have been problematic or particularly challenging.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks, Will, like for the intro. So as I mentioned during my recap beginning of this call, I am currently working on like a minimal Python client. The goal of this is to make lean spec both a spec where we have like spec writing, like documentation that are appropriate for a spec, meaning like very rich documentation, proper test vectors, proper unit test, and all of this, but also like a minimal client so that we are sure that everything works properly by running it and interop with all the other clients. That is an important point so that you as a client will be able to interop, for example, with a Python client, both Zim, Rim, its Lambda, Gig, all of this, so that you can test directly in front of the spec. So that will be very nice, even if the lean spec is not at all for production. This is also like a nice room for checking new stuff with a peer-to-peer layer, experimenting, extracting data from the DevNet so that we can track metrics in Python. We can build like Jupyter Notebook. We can build some plots and all of this. And so my goal there, even if I know that my implementation is not complete at any point, and I used also like a lot of AI to build it, so I am expecting a lot of bugs. I am trying to strongly test it against test vectors, but I was checking a bit how to test interoperation with all the other clients. So the most advanced one are like Zim and Rim, since you guys are there from the very beginning, plus Kulin and like Lantern and all of this. But I am more familiar with Rust and Zig, so I decided like to try to interop with these two. And I found that like the way you frame things is very different in Zim and Rim. For example, in Zim, you are working like on a specific branch for DevNet 2. In Rim, you are working under feature flag in Rust. And I found that I am sure that you guys lost sometimes by debugging things related to the spec. For example, what you just mentioned, Sharik, during this call is a very good example of this. Because you encounter like a bug in the block building, but maybe this is due to the fact that Zim guys push these PRs because they have encountered themselves like a bug in their client, and so they push the PR, and so you then as another client discover the thing, and so I found that maybe there are like a misconnection between us, not between you, but between us. So that maybe some merge that I am doing on the lean spec are merged kind of silently, and you don't see that. And finally, you discover that a PR has been merged like 1 month after. And so you spend a lot of time, so you guys debugging the things. But the problem was due to like a merge. And so I was thinking that also this is due to the fact that we are working on many DevNets. For example, some of the team there are on DevNet 1, some are on DevNet 2, and even some are thinking about DevNet 3. So this is very difficult, even when we send some message between us in technical groups on Telegram. For example, if I mention the subject signature aggregation, some of you guys are still on DevNet 1, so there is no aggregation, so you don't understand at all what I am talking about. Some of you are DevNet 2, so you are aware about what I am talking about, and some of you are DevNet 3 already in their mind, and so they think that we are doing recursive aggregation, and so they don't understand why I am not talking about recursive thing, and so this creates a bit of a mess between all of us. So as you just mentioned, Will, maybe like we should limit our scope to, for example, 2 devnets. For example, like we can have like one that is currently in progress by all of you guys as a team, and one that is under specification. But in this case, this should be very, very clear for you guys which feature you should include in your debugging or in your daily basis workflow, and which feature you should not take care about and reserve for later. That should be very clear. Otherwise, like some clients will try to operate in the future, other in the past, and this will be a mess. For this, I was thinking about different things, but because right now, if I am looking, even me, this is not very clear in my mind. I have not a precise table where I know the precise feature required for each devnet and the status of all of the clients. That should be very helpful to say, okay, for devnet 2, we need this feature, and this feature, very precisely and without any possible ambiguity. That means that, okay, this feature, this feature, this feature. And okay, we have a list of clients, and we know that this client is able to do this feature, but not this one and this one. The other one, okay, the 3 feature. So this is complete. And so that this will allow us to see clear, I think. Also, I love the idea of how I know that you pushed a lot of that in the lean spec to have flags and milestone. This means that in the pull request, if I search for specific pull request, I can filter pull request by milestone. And for example, I can filter all of the pull requests linked to devnet 2. And so that you could completely eliminate the PR linked to devnet 3, and you can only focus on the PRs linked to devnet 2. And for example, if I do a PR that has nothing to do with devnet 2, that is just adding some test coverage for SSZ, like I merged just before the call, you can completely eliminate that from your mind because you don't care. This is like basic SSZ coverage, and you use a library for that, so you don't care. That was like a point that I mentioned. And also, I think that the fact of you guys as team working on the spec. So for example, if like a team A is working on the specific part of the spec, this means that this team A has more experience and more like debugging on this part. But maybe all the other clients will not have this experience, and so they will fight against the spec and against the different PRs. And another team B can have more experience on the topic B, and so the other teams will also fight against. And so, yeah, that was basically my point, to be sure that we are well organized. Also, I know that there are many new teams coming, and so these teams should be a bit late. Let us say we cannot ask a new team right now to be under devnet 2. That is not possible. If you started yesterday, you couldn't be in devnet 2 for tomorrow. And so we should also bring clarity to these teams in order for them to have a clear vision, to be able to ask questions, and all of this stuff. Also, we have like a versioning system in lean spec in this file, where you have, this is not updated, but I have a PR to update it. But this is like the commit related to the devnet. This means that if you are a new client and you target devnet 1, you should stop yourself at the commit linked to devnet 1. And you should not care about everything that is after, otherwise it will be noise for you and you will have way too many confusion. So yeah, that was my point. Yeah, basically. Just as you mentioned, Will, this was like to settle the basis. as we have like a growing number of teams, I expect even more noise and even more things to come. And so, yeah, we should have clarity there.
All right. Thanks so much, Thomas. So I guess going down this list, I don't know if there's basically trying to get a sense, is there anyone that feels strongly that we would, like, it seems that people are converging on this idea that we would really work on 2 DevNets at a time. Is there anyone that is adamantly against that, or is there anyone, like, because it should only be a single DevNet, or anyone that is adamantly against it because they feel like we need to have the ability to grow that scope even more? Okay, good. So I think that, having consensus around the fact that we're going to be, working primarily on, the one implementation DevNet, and then, the people that are more focused on specs are going to be looking at the research and the specs for the coming DevNet is fantastic. And I think that I want to do what I can to make sure that the structure of this meeting better reflects that. So rather than probably having this kind of persona-based structure of clients, research, metrics, so on and so forth, I think it would be best to just like really focus on implementation, DevNet in at the start of the call and DevNet in +1 at the, beyond that. If anyone has any thoughts around that, I'd love to hear it. And so I guess the other place that I would also like people to give some real thought to is item number 6 on this agenda, which is comms consolidation and async comms. I'm noticing that we have, again, this is kind of an organic effort that started, by creating a Telegram channel. It's called Post Quantum, and that's meant to be like the center focus of this effort. And it's actually like one of the least used Telegram channels, because we also have like a Ream channel, a Zeem channel. It's great. All the teams have their individual channels. But then there's also like kind of a lean specs channel, a lean DevNets channel, leads, all of these different forks. And so I guess it could make sense for us to kind of level set, and I don't know that there's any one golden silver bullet when it comes to these problems, but there is an opportunity to either say, hey, we could really lean into Discord, where normal kind of DevNet efforts and consensus client efforts take place in the ETH R&D server, and we have the post quantum channel there. People could really start to utilize threads, and all of these threads could take the place of these sub Telegram channels, and that could be one path to help like consolidate these efforts, and really people become much more diligent about referring to ongoing discussions in this like DevNet in +1 shorthand. And we could also just take the opportunity to create a Telegram channel that's a bit more robust, that has actual threads in the Telegram channel. So if there's a way of working that people are naturally just wanting to maintain, I can't imagine that we're going to find unanimity around this. My advice would be to like either have a multi-threaded Discord, channel, or a multi-threaded Telegram channel, rather than having a scattering of channels with different people in different channels, and so visibility becomes difficult and conversations can become redundant. Any thoughts on that? Yeah, Thomas.
Yeah, just two things, like one about like the topic we mentioned before, like before the meeting, who shared this link. where, for example, that is a way to classify, as I mentioned before, with like milestones and tags, so that, for example, if you go to this link, you have all of the pull requests, for example, linked to the DevNet 1. And so you can filter by this and check PR by PR if you are okay with the spec. So yeah, that is just a side comment about like the way we can better classify things. And so I think that from right now, I will make this mandatory for all of the PRs that I am doing, and I will try to do very focus on this to be able to retrieve things. About what you mentioned, Will, about the discussion, for me, that is a very important topic, especially for technical discussion, meaning for leans, we have like indeed a lean spec channel where we are discussing technical topics. So that could be code exchange, that could be spec exchange, sharing like links between teams. And I feel like for me, doing like Discord thread or like big Telegram groups with multiple sub discussion, for me, that is the same. At least personally, we could use both. This is perfect. But what is very important is to have this notion of thread where we can have separate discussion. Why? Because, for example, if we want to discuss both with the team A that is about DevNet 1 and a team B that is about DevNet 3, for example, if we do that in the same discussion, this will be a mess because some of you guys will ask question about like DevNet 1 and some other will respond with the mind of DevNet 3. And so this will create big confusion, and that is not what we want. But instead, if we have threads and we can directly answer to the question, then we can have like separate discussion and be very clear and very independent in terms of discussion. I can, for example, have a thread about the team A that is with DevNet 1 and discuss DevNet 1 feature only with the mind of DevNet 1, and have another channel about a team that is DevNet 3 and discussing this channel only about DevNet 3. So for me, this notion of channel is very, very important. And we can do that on Telegram, on Discord, but we should have this for me. Because I think that currently in the lean spec dev channel, probably this is a big source of confusion between all of us.
Thanks so much, Shimon. Katya.
Yes, I've been supporting Discord as well because I also have this feeling lack of threads. And another point why I vote for Discord is that we may have user groups in Discord. So, for example, if I want to tag only clients, so I know that there is like client group, and even if in this channel there are researchers or like other people like contributors, I know that these messages for client teams and I can tag them. And if you worry about a lot of notifications from the Discord, it's very flexible. So you can just spend, I don't know, 30 minutes and mute all the channels you don't use. And for example, unmute only if you're tagged. So it make less noise. So if you care about notifications, very flexible. Thank you.
Thank you, Katya. Gajender.
Yeah, so I generally am more in favor of Telegram because I feel that Discord is bloated and sort of more noisy. But if we have outgrown Telegram, which it seems like we have, then it probably makes sense to go to Discord to be more efficient. So I'm fine if we want to move to Discord or for all the benefits that have already been articulated.
Katja.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that there is also opportunity to make kind of private chats if if it's too noisy, if it makes sense, even though we are in public, so it's just for discussion. So at least there is this option to reduce the noise if it's we can start and then we'll see.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Okay, so I've got 20 votes on Telegram versus Discord. Unfortunately, there's no like clear winner, so we'll continue to keep an eye on that. I do want to make time for some of these other artifacts that are just as important and ways of working, coordination tooling. Is there anything that you've been instrumental in creating these milestones and the high-level docs? Last week, Mercy volunteered to put together the readiness checklist. There's a link to a draft, I believe, in the comments, which is really great. I think the instinct is to like consolidate that into those high-level documents. And also, Thomas has sort of circulated some of the comparison matrices that are seen on, say, ETH proofs, to like really kind of help give people a visual understanding of client parity across DevNets and the different test cases. Is there anything that you can share with us in terms of work that's what's working, what's not, what could be improved along those lines? And of course, anyone else, feel free to jump in on PR visibility, coordination tooling, things of those nature.
For me, I think you and Toma already covered everything that I made, especially on like the GitHub labels and milestone. That pretty much captures what I was doing. I guess on the checklist, yes. So I don't really have any strong feedback on that. It looks good. Yeah, the only concern is that it's where to place it. I would prefer that it's merged or somehow stays inside the PM repo so that everyone has like access to make pull requests on it. And then it gets it can be referenced for as long as the PM repo stays. Yeah, pretty much that. And I think from what Thomas suggested, like something similar to ETH proof, I think Mercy already has a tables close to that, so we could also just basically just use that in the document. If you want to show that somewhere, I can just get lean roadmap to just like read from GitHub repo and then show that on the website. That's possible as well.
That sounds great. I think in the spirit of just iterating and shipping and trying to improve upon things, because we're all working in Telegram, and like right now I'm looking at the poll results. Basically, I'd like to try a couple of weeks, maybe if we give ourselves from now until a lot of us are going to be together in Cannes, where we can like have an even deeper retro to like do this next iteration on the way that we work, by just saying, okay, we're going to create a Discord that has multiple channels in it. We're going to restructure this call to really reflect, the DevNet in plus one work. We're going to, really try to drive this call from those milestone views in GitHub. We're going to merge in those readiness checklists into the high-level documents. Basically, start off by trying to make those operational improvements and give it, a couple more weeks, and then, into March, we'll be together. We'll have shipped hopefully 2 more DevNets, and we can kind of determine if we want to take any additional steps to adjust even further. How do people feel about that? I got 1 thumbs up, 2 thumbs up, 3 thumbs up. Exploding thumbs up. All right. So we'll give that a shot. I will, probably circulate a couple of channel options with people for setting up the Discord, or sorry, the Telegram, and we want to keep it very lightweight, allow it to just kind of like develop organically, but not have channel creep. I think that anything more than like 8 channels is gonna overwhelm people, and we're gonna lose a separate Discord server. Sweaty emoji face. All right, so we'll take it from there. Thank you all for entertaining or being a part of this coordination conversation. We've got the breakout call tomorrow. Anyone want to make a last pitch on what the topic is? And I believe it's all DevNet 3 specifications. And then if anyone wants the invite and they're not on the invite, who should they reach out to?
So they can reach out to their team's lead, or they can just DM us, me or O, I think.
Perfect. All right. Thank you all very much.
Thank you,
All
everyone.
right, have a good one, guys. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Goodbye,
Cheers.
everyone.
Bye.